will Jamal Hill change positions in 2023? This was one of the more kind of under the radar storylines that came out of the first couple of days of Oregon spring practice. Lanning was asked about Jamal Hill, maybe working a little bit with the linebackers, and more or less, is he going to stay at safety? Are we going to maybe see him move to linebacker? And he had this to say, quote, "I think position versatility for all our guys. I think everybody here knows that we want to try guys at multiple positions. If we can be our best team with Jamal at linebacker, we're going to work Jamal at that position. If we think we need him at quarterback, we'll move him to quarterback. I'm not really sure. I'm not really going to give out trade secrets. Wherever we can put guys in positions where they can help the team, that's what we're going to do." So he's not saying that it's not going to happen. But, Lanning always saying, Lanning with the media, he's kind of hinting at an answer, but not really giving the answer. But either way, he's leaving the door open for Jamal Hill to play some inside linebacker for the Ducks, seeing that is the position that they need some of the most help with in the 2023 season. You obviously lose Noah Sewell. He expects to hear his name called in the 2023 NFL draft next month. He was the face of the inside linebacker position for the Ducks. But you saw some other guys transfer, like Jackson LeDuc. He was a key piece of your depth. But they do have some returners coming back from a year ago, guys who have played a decent amount of football for the Ducks. Conversation there with returners at inside linebacker obviously starts with Jeffrey Bassa, who, potentially like Hill, is a converted safety. He signed with the Ducks in the 2021 class as a safety nickel type back, but moved down to linebacker before the 2021 season because the Ducks were pretty stretched for depth there at that spot. So I think that there is a clear need to add some more depth at inside linebacker. That's why the Ducks brought in Justin Jacobs from Iowa. He projects to be a plug-and-play starter on that defense in 2023. But you also have Keith Brown, who played some really good football for the Ducks at the end of the 2022 season, primarily in the Holiday Bowl and kind of that back stretch of the season. And then you have Devin Jackson and Harrison Taggart, two really highly recruited guys from the 2022 signing class that didn't really see the field too much, but they were both really lauded for their speed, for their athleticism. I think they have, some room to add weight to their frames. I think they're both around 6'1", 6'2", low 210s, 215s. But those guys can move, and they're definitely going to be in line for some more snaps this year. And I think that the spring is a great place for them to start, staking their claim to more playing time. But let's look a little bit more at Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill's been at Oregon since 2019, kind of bursted out onto the scene in that 2019 Pac-12 championship game where he had 2 interceptions against USC to help the Ducks take the conference title from the Trojans in Los Angeles, I might add. But really, ever since that season, he hasn't been able to really replicate some of those big plays, some of the things that made him so special and so talented in that 2019 season. Basically, what I'm saying is we haven't really seen that same Jamal Hill since that 2019 Pac-12 championship game. Does that mean that he can't take a step forward this year, or that he can't, have a good season? Not at all. But I think it wouldn't make sense to write off a position change because he is a bigger bodied safety, around 6 foot, 215, 210 pounds, I want to say. So you try to maybe beef him up a little bit. But look at that safety room. That safety room is really, really, really crowded. You have Jamal Hill, who returns. He's a veteran. Steve Stevens, the 4th, returns. He's a veteran. Brian Addison returns. He's a veteran. And then you have some other guys that come in from the portal. Tysheem Johnson from Ole Miss. Evan Williams from Fresno State. A couple of highly touted safeties from the 23 class. Tyler Turner, who's already enrolled. Cody DeCambra from national powerhouse Bishop Gorman. You have Trajan Williams, who comes back from the 2022 recruiting class. So you have plenty of bodies there. But of those 3 veterans, Hill, Stevens, Addison, I don't think any of those guys necessarily separated themselves as that guy needs to be on the field. I kind of said that in a recent episode, so I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I think that they can afford to at least try to move Hill down to the inside linebacker spot because he's a really good tackler, and I think he's an opportunistic guy when it comes to making plays on the ball. And we know how Oregon's coverage at linebacker has struggled in recent years, and that's definitely a priority for new inside linebackers coach Brian Michalowski. So why not? Why not give Jamal Hill a shot at inside linebacker? I think that he's proven that he can be a quality player, but maybe hasn't necessarily lived up to the expectations at safety. And if he can help you out at linebacker, I don't see why you wouldn't at least give it a try, because it worked out pretty well with Jeffrey Bossa. So maybe they can capture that again with Jamal Hill. Another quote that I think is worth mentioning, Lanning was asked about guys that are stepping out as leaders on the first day of spring practice, and he said, quote, Jamal Hill is a guy on defense that's really stepped up and has shifted and been in different locations and really shown some maturity there. So he's working at linebacker already. So they're kind of tweaking this spot with Jamal Hill as we stand right now in spring practice. So I think that it definitely makes sense to give Jamal Hill a shot at linebacker. The safety room's crowded, and maybe you see a bigger need for Jamal Hill at linebacker.